me for my mission. And then my bishop just keeps saying, I'm not ready. And it kind of just broke my heart again, because everyone else was going. Like, then I turned 20 and everyone else was going, and I was trying to be just as good, or, trying really hard.
Did you become less gay throughout the whole process?
It's interesting because I'm very gay now, but no, yeah, because it was in my mind, it was a mindset thing, right? Like, I was less gay because I wouldn't allow myself to refer to myself like that. So I was really, I was definitely more homophobic. I don't know if I was less gay.
Do you think your therapist was gay?
Plot twist. No, I'm dating him now. No, you already know I'm single. I have no idea. And I do have, I know we wanted to talk about my BYU experience, and I do want to bring up just like that intersection of spiritual, emotional feelings and like intimate feelings. Because that is something that I really feel like I've had to work on a lot on reflecting and weaving through since leaving the church.
Yeah, and we'll venture through there. Let's get into the BYU experience. So your bishop, or even pre-mish, your bishop tells you you're not going on a mission. You're not ready for a mission.
You're not ready yet. Take another temple history class, or why don't you do celestial marriage so you understand the beauty of a woman,
and all the while you're still going through weekly or monthly therapy.
Which I understand the beauty of a woman. I find women to be very beautiful, but no. And I had all of my friends were female, and I confided in them after a while. A few of my female friends. I told them I was gay, and I told them I had same gender attraction, and that I was working through the atonement to get ready to be able to go on a mission, and they were very supportive of me and that. And I also randomly one night, we played Truth or Dare, and they're like, kiss us both. And so I kissed them both. And then I ran off. I remember thinking, wow, what a priesthood stud I am. Like, I just kissed 2 daughters of God, and to feel normal.
You genuinely thought that was cool.
I thought Jesus was like, yeah, bro, dude, you rocked that.
I think that's honest.
I did. And not to go off on a tangent, but I think a lot of just men in general in the church think that, somehow the priesthood and like dominating women or kissing them or something is like a priesthood duty in a way. And I always just was great friends with the women. And so anytime there was intimacy involved, I wasn't sure what to do, but I also, I saw them as my friends. So,
and I can see like someone who's working really, really hard in this space to overcome your same-sex attraction, as the church likes to label it, as seeing that as a little victory, like just a little nugget of victory. All of this work is paying. Like, I just kissed 2 girls. Like, yeah. It may not be Katy Perry. I kissed a girl and I liked it.
Yeah.
Kissed the girls, but just that there was an ounce of encouragement and it's funny how emotionally and spiritually and traumatic these experiences are for people who go through these reparative experiences, how just the smallest of those little nuggets push them over and let them go forward for another month or 2 or 3.
Right. When you're in that structure, the power structure of the church and the gospel lifestyle, it's like there could be 99 things in front of you telling you that you should move on. This is not really working. It's making you unhappy, but you get one crumb and you're like, oh wow, okay, Jesus is actually guiding me through this. Even though like that entire week was absolutely terrible and I'm considering, why am I even on this earth? because of this issue. But then, one little thing happens, a coincidence, a miracle, whatever you want to call it. And, it gives you a little bit of fumes to run off for the next.
Hashtag tender mercies.
Yeah, tender mercy. So that was 2 tender mercies in one. And, I just thought I was doing great. I had respectable friends, and we were going to the temple, and I was in, didn't do theater anymore because I felt like that on the gay spectrum was kind of up here. And so I did choir, which, you don't get to dress up in costumes and stuff. So that's sad. But I did choir, lots of gays in the BYU choir then. Maybe there are still lots of them now. I didn't really take advantage of that because I was trying to be good. But it got hard, and it got old, and it got cold. The winter turned cold in Rexburg, and I made this. I did a talent show, so that was my gateway. I did a BYU Broadway review, and there was another actor that was in it that I thought was cool. And
wink, wink,
wink, wink. I thought he was a cool guy, and my gaydar was like, which I also, the gaydar is doing that, and then like this spirit cop in my head was like, don't you dare reach out to him, because I know you're true. The Holy Ghost has gaydar too, apparently. So
only before midnight.
Yeah, only before midnight, and not on the Sabbath either. But I did reach out. I DM'd this guy, Richard, and we've told this story before, and he's okay with me using his name. But Richard became a great friend. He messaged me back. We had a lot in common. He was in an improv troupe. I was invited to audition for that. I got into the improv troupe with them, and we really kind of had like 6 months to a year of just like this really strong friendship. Like a Bert and Ernie, as far as we know, platonic, but attached at the hip.
Was he your only close male friend?
No. Well, at BYU Idaho, we didn't live alone. So you had all of his roommates and all of my roommates and all of our FHE sisters and brothers. And so there's like little communities within the ward and at the school and in the theater and the improv troupe. So no, we were always with other people. But he invited me to come over to watch a movie, and we watched Tootsie. And, that always gets me going, apparently. So we made out in his room, and then I slept over, and I wake up, and I'm feeling the guilt and the just the intimacy here was both everything I've needed and everything like that. Like that craving, and a craving sounds kind of sleazy, but
it was fulfillment.
I felt like I was suffocating, while trying to internalize the gayness and really suppress it. It felt often, I don't know if anyone else has felt that's dealt with that, but I felt like I was being crushed, and that I can get relief. And then when you're shown this affection, this wanted consensual normal experience, it feels so right, but also my mind is so not in that paradigm or dimension. It just isn't. And so as right as it was and felt, and as perfectly beautiful and great as it was, it felt deeply wrong. I felt deeply guilty and deeply unworthy of that type of love.
Who did you feel like you offended the most? Yourself, your God, your bishop, your family?
Wow, that's a great question. I feel like I definitely offended God, and I definitely offended the church. Looking back, the older that I've gotten, I'm like, wow, you really weren't even thinking about your own needs at any of this point, and I wish that I would have advocated for myself a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of took it because I was very submissive to this idea of the priesthood and to what they were telling me to do. So I think mostly it was just the fear of having to tell my bishop, and I keep telling, I'm so ready for a mission. I'm ready. I am ready. And now I have to say that I wasn't, I kind of did slip up. You were right. But, I was done. I wasn't done. I kept on, feel like I was being egged on and doing everything that I could, and I didn't really see it going anywhere. And so, yeah, I dipped my toes in the water.
You kissed a boy.
Yeah. And he liked it. I liked it too.
What was that meeting like with your bishop?
Well, I just go in pretty, guilty, prayerful, penitent, and I just tell him exactly what happened. And he's like typically a warm, bubbly gentleman, Santa Claus vibes or something. And he just totally went like stone cold, face drop, and was like, if that had been with a woman, you would be fine. But you're going to have to be reported to the honor code office. And I was like, before or after I play the organ for church today? I was like, what?
So the incident happened over Friday, Saturday night, and then you're in the bishop's office.
Yeah, it all happened so fast and at the same time.
And by incident, we're literally talking about a kiss.
Yeah.
And a snuggle.
Yeah. Yeah, I was aroused. He was aroused. But the thing is that if you've ever had the lovely experience of having your roommates, macking it out with their girlfriends on the couch or snuggling up, spooning together, watching a movie, you would look at us and be like, well, this. You would look at our relationship together and you would be bored comparatively.
That's the first thought that came to mind. Boring.
Freaking boring, and I was like 20. We were cute, and I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't have my first sip of alcohol until I was 29, and never smoked. Now I love weed, and I'm okay with drinking, but I was a good boy in that sense of the commandment, except the gay stuff. So
your bishop kind of I can imagine a bishop in this situation has these feelings of letdown, like he's invested a lot into you.
Yeah.
And now he probably feels let down by your actions. And
he was hoping that I would date and marry his daughter.
Oh, we have that too.
Yeah. I was over at their house regularly. I went on a camping trip with them, and his daughter played the piano, and I would sing, and it was like the future Von Trapp, family. And I crushed him, apparently.
So maybe the easiest way for him to tackle your situation was to pawn you off, to send you to the honor code office.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? They phone you and let you know that there's something going on? They have people staked outside of your dorm watching you? What was the honor code office
That'd be hot.
process?
No. I found out in a dramatic way, and this is like a double entendre, because like I was literally in the theater building at BYU Idaho in between opening night and closing weekend for the main stage musical. So BYU Idaho was putting on their musical, and I was in it, and I had a significant role, and my own song and in the second act, and I was called in. Richard and I were called into the theater department head's office. I'm like, this is random, and he's like, we just got a message from the honor code office, and they said that you're not allowed to be in the show anymore. That you're being kicked out of school, and that you're both that you've both been inappropriate and broken the honor code. And that's how we found out. And so they replaced us in the show. We didn't really get to say goodbye to anybody in the cast. These were all of our friends, and the shit show began from that moment. It became real.
How quickly did this happen, from Sunday to when you confessed to your bishop to meeting with the music department head?
I don't know the days for sure, but I think we were going to have a pickup rehearsal on Wednesday, and then they were going to have the closing night Friday, Saturday, or maybe even Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it was either Monday or Tuesday.
So less than a week or a week.
Yeah, less than. Very, very serious. They really didn't want us being a threat. In Children of Eden, Stephen Schwartz's kind of anti-religious but pseudo-religious musical, it was really bizarre that we weren't worthy enough to be in that show, especially considering the show is pretty sacrilegious, and the director added a lot of temple symbols to because it features Adam and Eve and Noah, and the director gave the father, the God character, a wife, and it's like, you're going to be Heavenly Mother, and you're going to follow the God character around everywhere, and the sun, and we had a Jehovah and all of these temple symbols, and that's grody looking. It was kind of bizarre for us cast members in the moment, and now I'm just like, really? You're gonna kick the gays out of that show? It's not like we were doing Light of the World or whatever,
Yeah.
some Easter pageant. I don't know. It's bizarre.
And now you just said they received a message from the HCO and said were there any details to why they were kicking you out? Did your music chair tell you any of that, or just that you were gone?
They knew it was because we had broken the law of chastity, the honor code. I don't know if I got the same letter that they did, and I'm sure my letter is tucked away in a very special place in a tub somewhere. But I know that I got feedback from some folks in the cast who did receive an announcement, a public announcement, that we had been kicked out because of an honor code violation.
Unbelievable.
And they replaced us. So, somebody had to, they had to either re-pull costumes and re-block the show and teach somebody, a whole new song. And that stuff happens when people get sick. But to put yourself, it was just really devastating, because now it's like, we not only can't be in the show, we can't be at the school. I had to move out.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, because you literally had to face the music, and the music turned you away. What is it like facing your friends and your church family and all those people that you're a transplant. You moved into Rexburg, and everyone there is family.
Yeah.
What is that like?
Well, I remember sitting in a Denny's booth with my friend Christian, and she was just nice enough to take me to dinner or something, and I was just weeping for like, it felt like hours, just like sobbing and so disappointed in myself, and what could I have done? How could I have done this, and how could I have lost everything and disappointed everyone? And so I walked around for a good portion of the time for that, when I would see people with, you know, my tail between my legs, really feeling like I deserved to feel disconnected. I deserved that, because I was put onto disciplinary council. I couldn't pray or talk to anybody
as a result of this
as
experience.
a result of that. But because it's BYU Idaho, I couldn't stay in that ward with that bishop. I couldn't stay in my housing. So we were given like 48 hours to leave, to pack and to leave. This is either really close to midterms or finals. So I failed all of those. I had a 4.0 before and failed every single one of my classes, because when you're kicked out, they don't give you a withdrawal, they just fail you. And the apartment complex or management was demanding that we still pay in full the whole semester. So I think they're like, well, you have a $3,000 balance or something. And so here I am not have anywhere to live, getting a demand to pay the rest of my rent while also needing to have a down payment and money to get a new apartment.
Off campus.
On campus.
Yep.
And so you have everything: financial, spiritual, social. Like, look at this mess that I caused, and how terrible of me for not being strong enough to resist my urge to be gay.
And in the back of your mind, the words of your bishop still ring so true. If this would have been a girl, it would have been no problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very painful, lonely walk. And it has a lot of residual effects, because it put me into debt. I had never had to get a credit card before, and I had to, in order to be able to put it down, in order to be able to live somewhere, I had to drop out of school. So I went off track. I lost my GPA, basically had to restart college. And Richard had a horrible time too. His was almost worse in ways, because he had already served a mission and he was endowed. And so he had to go through some stake meetings and things like that I know were very hard for him. Because and we tried to fight it a little bit in our own way that we could. We kind of sat in front of Kim B. Clark, the president of the university, his office, for like 3 or 4 hours, until he would finally agree to just talk with us for 5 minutes. And we told him what had happened, and we felt like we were gonna be that like we would do better, and that we would like cut off our relationship if we could just stay. That like, I have nowhere to go. I can't go back home. I'm here at BYU Idaho because I need to be in school and away from home. And Richard was like less than a year away, done with his program.
And it's all gone. Especially if he had
because BYU
many
Idaho has
semesters
really
there.
weird,
Yes.
non-transferable kind of credits too. So yeah, Richard had to literally do his bachelor's over again, and I lost a year and a half.
How do you move forward from that? Because spoiler alert, you get to the point where you're ready to serve a mission again. Mm-hmm. So you find a lifeboat somewhere, or you recover somehow. How does this happen?
Basically, my goal was to go back to school, so I tried to apply everywhere that I could to see who would, take credits that I've done, or who's going to give me a scholarship. So I applied to Southern Utah University, and I applied to all these other places that were felt like Mormon schools, but that weren't church schools, since I wasn't allowed in there. And a good friend of mine just got this big scholarship to go to Southern Virginia University. And so I applied there, and I ended up going there because they had an LDS environment, but the way that they did their ecclesiastical endorsements was not the same as BYU Idaho did, and they didn't really care that I was coming in with my scarlet letter on. So I really kind of like cleaned up, and I went through, started to do therapy again, but then I was having, this feeling that I wanted to go on a mission, and so I became really close with the bishop that was there too, and he was really supportive of my endeavors, and the stake president was, because I just felt like I would be a good missionary, which I was, and that it would help me, because a big guide for my life was my patriarchal blessing, and my patriarchal blessing kind of spelled things out. So I'm thinking, how can I, still maneuver this to go to eternal life? Because it kind of messed up the 19, 20, 21-year-old range to go on a mission. And so I just really felt determined that I could give that back to God for being so sinful to go on a mission, and that it would validate my testimony, and that it would give me an opportunity to share the gospel, which I really believed in. And so kind of went through it again. When I graduated, I buckled down, and I got a little job at a restaurant, and just saved as much money as I could, and prepared to go on my mission. Like, just did seminary and splits with the missionaries all the time, and it was a year of having no slip-ups was the requirement, with regular check-ins with the stake president, and with therapy, that they were able to submit a request to President Monson for him to sign to approve me to go on a mission. And I did it.
And he signed it.
And I didn't lie, and I don't lie either. That's one thing too. I'm like, man, if I was just a little bit more of a liar, I would have saved a lot of this heartache. Because I know, going in a lot of these situations, I think people are able to kind of hold in their guilt enough to, at least. But I just was so. I think the trauma was coming from different angles, that I didn't want to lose the one opportunity that I had to, be validated or have worth, And
I think there's 3 points here that I think are fascinating. Like, you continue, and this is a scenario that it is quite familiar to people in this space, but one is the over-religious nature of what we do. We overcompensate using religion as I'll take on an extra calling. I will fast for 36 hours if you need me to. I'll go to church, my ward and the ward next to it also. I will do whatever you want me to do, God. Like, I will do everything. Then you also have the familial issue, where nothing at home is inviting enough to say, I'll just revert back to that situation. So you're there to also continue to run from that experience. And then the idea that you're still gay, and that none of this is changing. Conversion therapy, reparative therapy, and all of the processes that have happened at this point. You have 3 gigantic elephants that live in your living room, and there's no room left for who and what you are.
Yeah, I really was like climbing so fast and well and far up this ladder that's on the wrong side of that's like leading to nothing, or leading to the wrong place, and because I was a force of nature. I always have been bright and likable and popular, in the sense where I love life and I have a passion for it. and I love my Mormon friends, and I loved the opportunities, the social opportunities. But I think you're right. It's like I was going through the motions, but it was a lot of stigma towards these identities, like gay and stuff, labeling and all